So we're day one in, one full day in, and it's crazy town already. It took one full NBA slate for it to go absolutely bonkers. What's going on, YouTube? Northeast Ohio here for another unplanned video. I was sitting around last night watching card prices go absolutely insane for a bunch of guys and said, well, I guess I better get up in the morning and make a quick video. Merry Christmas, everybody. First off, for those that celebrate. Happy and Merry's whatever else if you guys aren't on the Christmas and you do something different. So yeah. If there was any doubt that the NBA market was not going to be completely wild for the 2020-2021 NBA season, I think we could put that to bed. It technically started Tuesday night with Kevin Durant's prices. Sorry if my voice is a little rough. I literally just woke up. And then followed up by last night's full game slate of prices just going crazy. So let's talk about it. I don't want to say I called this, but I had a feeling this was going to happen. And it actually feels like the market is even more overreactionary than it was before. I know we've been talking a lot of star stock lately. I'm going to talk about star stock really quick before we dive into some market movers charts for some of these guys. Star stock last night was insane. I watched RJ Barrett prices go up $30 in like 15 minutes in real time. Same with Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, a lot of the guys we're going to talk about today. Just every time you refresh the page, there was a new highest sale, and then it capped out at about $85 for RJ, give or take. It was just wild. There was a bunch of Ja Morant PSA 10 Prism auctions ending last night that I was following that basically set the new baseline. Stuff was flying off the shelf for him. Oh, pro star stock tip. So we always talk about base prisms going crazy first and then everything else following. On star stock, at least right now, that is the case, but it is on steroids. There was a point last night where RJ Barrett's base prisms were selling for $85. And it had been selling for $85 for a good 20 minutes. And there was a green prism base and a red, white, and blue prism bases, which I know are not the most popular parallels, but they typically sell for slightly more than raw. The green was selling for $40. The red, white, and blues were selling for like $50 and $60, while the bases were selling for $85. So I tipped off a few people. I made a post in the Sports Card Investor Discord about it. And someone grabbed the green. It looks like someone grabbed the red, white, and blues. And there's still some stuff, spoilers. If you're interested in RJ Barrett and specifically on Star Stock, go take a look at RJ and some parallels. There are still some parallels selling under what his base prism's going for. And I think there's an edge that could be worked there in regards to the prism price really goes crazy first and everyone forgets about the parallels. So if you're interested in whatever player you're interested in, whether it's RJ Barrett or whoever, go look to see what parallels and variations are selling for compared to the base card. Because if it's less than the base card price or close to the base card price, you should probably take a hard look at that if you're interested in the player. Just a little pro star stock tip. Just something I noticed there on star stock. All right, let's get into some charts and market movers here. So what I have done is I pulled a bunch of players, and I just ran 4-day charts. I went back to Sunday, 12/20, and ran them through today. So these are 3 4-day charts. because I was just curious. And a lot of these guys, we'll do a deeper dive on this on Sunday in the weekly wrap up to see, do some prices dip back down, because right now we haven't seen that yet because it's literally been 12 hours. So market movers updated overnight, and then I hopped on to do this to see the craziness. Let's start with KD. So the KD one's a little wild. I just pulled up his base raw because there's not a lot of graded cards of this specifically. And I didn't want to go to the Chrome because it's super expensive. So KD's night on Tuesday starts with 30 minutes before the tip. Gary V tweeting, "You have 30 minutes to buy your KD rookies." Well, on a normal day, that's all it takes. And that's all it took for stuff to start moving. And then KD came out and looked like KD. And boy, was I wrong on this one. I was worried about KD based off the injury because history says, and no player has really bounced back that great from an Achilles injury and looked the same. KD looked the same, and I advised selling some KD prior to the season starting just in case. And I took my own advice. I sold a base KD Topps Chrome a few months ago. And that's worth way more today than it was back then. So it is what it is. But he comes out, looks great. National TV game, the whole 9 yards. Twitter's ablaze. And his price is basically doubled, at least on this card. I did not have time this morning to do a deep dive into all the different variations of KD cards because there's a ton of them. But his base 2007 Topps is up 56% in 4 days. It was at $80. It's at $120. So we're going to see this trend continuing, and we're not going to spend a ton of time. I just kind of want to rack through these. I know that it's Christmas Eve, and we'll spend a longer deep dive on this on the Sunday morning show. Next up, we got some random ones on here. It's not just all stars and NBA MVPs. Dante DiVincenzo looked absolutely fantastic last night in the Bucks game. There's not a lot of cards of his in Market Mover, so I just went with the most common one that was, and that's his base or his silver PSA 10 Prism. It was $130 on Monday. It's $200 now. It's up 45%. Only 9 of these have sold, but this is a low pop card because, there's not a lot of Dante DiVincenzo lovers out there other than 502 Frank. So yeah, once again, he had a pretty good game and his prices went ballistic. Let's just keep moving here. Like I said, I want to try to keep this as short as possible. My boy Colin Sexton, who I love to hate. I truly do not believe that Colin Sexton is like an NBA championship level player. I really think he is Lou Williams 2.0, but Lou Williams scores buckets and he's young and he's from the 2018 class. So people are going to throw money at him. I will go down with the ship as not liking Colin Sexton as a long-term investment. If you want to flip him, flip him. I'll flip anybody. But so once again, earlier this week he was $130. He's $160 now. I expect this to go higher. He's up 25%, and it actually did not record a sale yesterday on his PSA 10. I'll have to double check that. Regardless, Sexton stuff's through the roof. His running mate, who I do like, Darius Garland, also up a ton. Started off the week $76, well up over 100 now, 30 to 40% jump on Garland stuff. He looked fantastic in camp. He looked fantastic in preseason, and he looked fantastic last night. So did Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro looked pretty good last night too. I mostly watched the Cavs game early. So his stuff's going wild and crazy. Here's the big one. Probably the biggest one of the night. Ja Morant comes out, new career high, looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, just looks great. And his stuff goes crazy. His stuff on Monday for a base PSA 10 Prism was sitting at about 550. It ended at, according to this, the ending average is 636. I saw plenty of sales touch 650. I think when the full numbers roll in over the next couple of days, that it's going to settle out around then. So it's only up 13%, but it's almost $100 jump. And I think it's notable that it went from 550 to 650 in literally about 3 hours. So we'll see where the new baseline ends up settling out for him. But I feel really good about my hot take video where I said Ja Morant catches and or maybe passes Zion. And the Ja Morant base PSA 10 Prism at some point in time will touch $1,000 because he looked like the real deal yesterday. So we'll see where he ends up shaking out. I'll be very curious to see where these prices go by the time Sunday happens. Now there's going to be more games that are going to be played. Ja comes out, looks fantastic again, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have a chart for him here. Zion looked fine. He had a fine game. It was not world-wrecking, earth-shattering. So I'll be curious to see how he does the next few days. But if he has an eruption game, I assume his prices are going to go crazy as well. RJ Barrett, another person I love to hate, basically could not miss yesterday. And he's up 35%. His base prism went from $200 to $260. And yeah, I mean, New York media, et cetera, et cetera. Full disclosure, I sold off a good portion of my RJ Barrett right before the season started. Now, it wasn't anything high. Well, there was medium. I don't really have any RJ Barrett that's super high end. I had a big lot of optic base that I sold. I had a big lot of mosaic base that I sold. And I had a blue velocity, a pink hyper, and a purple something. I don't remember. Some optic parallels. Those ones I probably definitely lost on for sure. The optic bases I felt like I got a pretty good price for at the time. I still have all my RJ Barrett prisms, and I have some RJ Barrett sitting at PSA. So this was my normal strategy of sell off some stuff, keep some stuff. I sold off the optic and mosaic, and I held on to the prism. Because I just was not a big believer in RJ, and I'm still not. It could have just been one good game. We're talking about a 1-game sample size here. Don't forget that. And when you implement that strategy, there's going to be days where it feels like it bit you in the ass. And there's going to be days when it's like, whoo boy, thank God. And I think over the long term, I'm willing to run those risks. So it is what it is. Trae Young also looked great yesterday. Had 37 or something, and basically, I don't even know that he played a full game because they just absolutely decimated the Bulls. He's back up 15%, up $83. Went from 550 right back up to 650. He was at 650. He kind of peaked there. Actually, may have been a little bit higher. And then his market quickly declined, and then it shot right back up again. Because people remembered that, oh God, Trae Young scores in boatloads of points. They looked good. I watched a decent portion of that game, but I will say the Bulls did not look good. Once again, 1-game sample size. I am not freaking out. Kobe White really didn't do much. Zach LaVine had an okay game. Lauri Markkanen looked good, but in general, the Bulls did not look great. So I'm not necessarily ready to say like Hawks to the moon or anything crazy like that. But we will see what happens. Last but not least, Tatum had a pretty good game and then hit a game winner over Giannis. And then Giannis bricked a free throw that could have sent it to overtime. He saw a little bump, just 10%. The notable thing here was a 10% bump on a $750 card is a pretty good bump. So he's up over $800 again. He got real close to 800, flirted with 800, and he blew through 800 yesterday until late last evening. So we'll see where he ends up as well. But moral of the story is the NBA market is still crazy town. And we are going to continue to see crazy price hikes. I got a little caught up last night. I made a purchase on a Ja card. I have tons of Ja cards. But I made a purchase on a Ja card. So I will show, there'll be a mail day video coming hopefully next week. The guy did ship it. I paid slightly over whatever the last comps were, but it's a low pop card. So there had been prices that had touched this before. So I don't feel like I drastically overpaid for it. I feel like I paid market price for it. Actually, probably a little bit under, I think, when job prices settle out. Um, so we'll show that when we get here. I have tons, just piles of jaw, base optic, and base prism, and some graded stuff and whatnot. So, and I feel really good about my decision to. I hit that redemption out of that Hoops Hobby Hybrid box. I feel good this morning about deciding to redeem that and not just sell the ticket. So we'll see that in 6 years when it shows up. But all right. Officially, I've said this 2 times this week already. This is the last video I'm making before Christmas. And the NBA ceases to go 0 days without it being batshit crazy. And I'm not even talking about like the Rockets stuff from yesterday, which was disappointing because I wanted to see Darius Bazley and SGA play. Stupid Rockets. So I will say this once again, hopefully for the last time. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And I'll see you guys Sunday morning. YouTube nonsense down below. Like, comment, sub, because I think I forgot it at the beginning. Later, everybody.